Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports, and some Australian news for England Rugby, with them set to not have Marcus Smith for the Six Nations clash against Italy this weekend. And a big moment, a big sort of call there that can be made about who will replace him, and potential maybe debut in waiting for the young Finn Russell. I suppose someone's bad luck and somebody else's opportunity, really, and especially with the Six Nations, and a very interesting time for England in terms of a rebuild and sort of the next the next generation, the next sort of World Cup cycle, I suppose, all sort of begins this weekend for the European sides. The game in question, Italy versus England, over in Italy. By the way, they've been selling out all their home games, so expecting some big crowds for these games. That'll be kicked off at 4:15 on Saturday. It'll be the precursor for the Wales versus Scotland game. It'll be at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome, and we'll obviously be doing the coverage live. But before we sort of get into a little bit about what's happening with Marcus Smith, please do smash the like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. So this was set to be, well, I think it was set to be like a really big Six Nations for Marcus Smith. Maybe see a bit bigger defining Six Nations, given the fact that Owen Farrell is currently not playing international rugby, which means that the competition for the number 10 jersey is Finn Smith, who is the youngster, and the experienced George Ford, who I personally think still remains England's best fly half, or at least can very much do a good job. So, you know, we also saw Finn Russell, for example, Mark Smith rather, at fullback, during the World Cup and stuff like that. So I think that Mark Smith was set to play a really big role in the Six Nations. But unfortunately, he was apparently had a knock in training, and was then soon to be leaving training in crutches yesterday, and was set to have scans on Monday night to sort of determine the seriousness of the injury. But it does look like it's very likely that it could potentially be unavailable for this weekend, which adds to a host of people that obviously will not be playing this weekend for England, the likes of Owen Farrell, for example, who's not available, Maya Tulagi, Ollie Lawrence, who are currently injured, the likes of Joe March and Henry Randall no longer being part of the England setup because they're ineligible. So it's a frustrating time for Mark Smith, who could have really sort of stake to claim to be a sort of a major part of that England side. But same thing, as I said, someone else has lost somebody else's game. I think obviously George Ford will probably start this weekend, which, so they're not losing quality. We're talking about players who played 60, 70 caps for England. He's played in a World Cup final, talking about one of the top fly halves in world rugby. The other thing, though, is some people are sort of talking about the likes of Finn Smith, for example, who's playing very well. Sort of the informed fly half, really, in the Premiership, and also apparently in theory George Fallbank could be a bit of an option, but I'd be very surprised if we did see that. So not really what Steve Borthwick wants in terms of being able to have a sort of main fly half options just a few days before the Six Nations. But it'll be very interesting to see how he reacts to this with regards to what is the attitude for the Six Nations. Are we talking about a win at all cost Six Nations? Are we looking at more this is about building aside, and testing depth and starting to see where sort of players are as they sort of look to try and build to maybe look at competing at next year's Six Nations, at the next World Cup. So I'm very keen to see sort of the teams that are announced in the next couple of days, because that'll give us a bit of an indication on how these coaches are all approaching this particular Six Nations, which ones of them are really going out to win them, which of them are looking to try and build some depth, and what is sort of the attitude towards them. So let me know what you think. Who would you back to start? I think it has to be probably George Ford. But I got a feel for Marcus Smith, because I think he's had a very up and down start to his international career. Obviously, very talented player, just 24 years of old, turns 25 in a couple of weeks. So sort of coming into of age, really. And this is probably the time where you'd like to see that consistency being brought at international level. For somebody that age, he already has 30 caps for England. So he's been backed, for the last sort of 3 years from a youngster, but always kind of was in the shadow of Owen Farrell. And then they sort of tried to make both of them work. It didn't really work. And I think that with Owen Farrell not being there, I think a lot of people were saying that this was going to potentially unlock Marcus Smith and let him really play to his full potential. And now he's got a bit of an injury. So we don't know what the extent of the injury is. Well, as soon as we find out or when there's major news, we'll let you guys know. But apart from that, let me know what you think. Who would start in the number 10 jersey this weekend? And what do you think the attitude will be with regards to, is it building depth, winning the game? What do you think it should be? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.